Hi, I'm Bob Feldman, and I'm a professor of psychological and brain sciences at the University of Massachusetts Amherst, where I'm also deputy chancellor. I'm often asked about how I came to write my intro psych books, and it's a very interesting question because I can trace it basically to a single student. I was teaching an intro psych class many years ago, and in this class was a student named Mark Johnson. And at the very beginning of the semester, Mark came up to me and said, I'm really interested in this subject, and I think it's going to help me with my own life, and I'm just excited about taking the course. Well, I was excited about having Mark in my class because, first of all, students don't do that very often. But secondly, he really seemed like he was smart, he was articulate, just a very good-natured kind of person, and I thought he's going to be a real asset to the class and do very well. Well, at the beginning of the semester, he in fact did well. He was very much on point and attended all the classes and participated. But then as the semester went on, he began to perform at lower and lower levels. He began to miss classes. He did miserably on the first test. The paper that I asked him to write came in a week late, and I was increasingly disappointed and basically very puzzled. But I thought, well, maybe I just misjudged this person. And by about 3/4 of the way through the class, he just disappeared. And I didn't think a whole lot about it because it was a big class. There were a lot of students, and this happens at a large university like the one I teach at. Well, about a year later, I happened to be walking down the main quad at UMass, and I ran into him, and we looked at each other, and I remembered who he was, and he remembered who I was, and we began to chat. And I said to him, I'm really surprised. You really seem like the kind of guy who would do very well. You're clearly intelligent, and you just seem like you were the kind of student I would like to have in my classes and we'd like to have at the university. And what he said, in many ways, changed my life. He said to me, I'm a first-generation student, and when I came to UMass, which is a very big place, I was basically lost. I did not understand what was going on. I had a small social network. I just did not know how to get along as a college student. I'd done pretty well in high school, but I just didn't get college. And I listened to that answer, and I realized that something had really gone wrong, not on his part, but on my part as a professor and on our part at UMass. We just did not meet the needs of the student. We needed to provide an environment that was supportive. We needed to help him understand what college was all about. And in many ways, it was my responsibility, and less his responsibility, for him to do well. That encounter with Mark really weighed on me and led me to rethink my approach to teaching and my approach to education in many ways. I began to think about how we should be more student-centric, and that what I needed to do was to think about how students can come first. And it led really in many ways for me to develop a philosophy which I sometimes call students first. And what that means, what students first means, is that we have to think from the perspective of students. We have to put our students ahead of ourselves and write and teach to our students and to our students' needs.